Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Burke. I always, it's never easy to come after a poet laureate when you're speaking. So just as a side note, but what a special program that we have in Albuquerque with our Poet Laureate program. And Manny, you have been outstanding. And thank you on the campaign trail for teaching me how to say properly, Burke! And so, but it really is, and I think, we're so lucky to have even now at City Hall some of our former Poet Laureates now working at the city, and also some folks who've been involved in a lot of our spoken word culture, now doing our city's marketing, which is awesome. So I do want to give some shout outs to another poet in the room. Carlos Contreras is in the back. Give us a wave. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos, by the way, is now in charge of our entire city's marketing. And so what we are going to try and do is infuse everything that you see from the city of Albuquerque and everything that you hear from the city of Albuquerque with that same kind of brand and vision that Manny just articulated, and that I think a lot of folks in our creative arts community have owned for decades, if not centuries. But yet somehow around Albuquerque, we've kind of lost that. We've forgotten that core narrative. And so we're going to try and get back to that, even with what the city does. So today, though, we are here to talk about the amazing dedicated volunteers, everyone that is in this room. And firstly, I want to say thank you for doing what you can to make Burke better, because that is something that we need desperately right now, and it's something that you've known and put your time and your talent into, and that has truly kept Albuquerque as a special place. So thank you. And the AmeriCorps, I know, is here, one of our key partners in the Senior Corps in the audience. I just want to ask anyone involved in those programs, go ahead and stand up for us. I know you're here. There we are. There's a few. Let's give them a round of applause for all that they do for Albuquerque. So volunteering for me has also been a special thing personally. And I have to tell you that I owe the concept and the belief that you should give back to your community. I'm one of those, I think, fortunate individuals where I think in many ways I have received so much more from my volunteering efforts than I've ever given. But I do want to share a story with you about my own volunteering experience. And it began in the International District, in the heart of our city, when I was a Albuquerque born and raised kid who left for about 10 years and came back home and was trying to re-engage in everything that was going on in our city. And I volunteered for a number of projects in the International District, and that is actually how I got involved in public service, and how eventually I became state senator was because of the programs with the Asian American community, with the International District Health Coalition that I was working with, and that actually helped me connect to a community and also find another way to serve. And so I owe, in many ways, volunteering to my public service and political career. And I think even more importantly than that, that's how I met my wife. So she is going to come up next and talk about some of the work that we're doing. But I was volunteering for a food stamp program in the International District and doing some kind of pro bono analytic work for them, actually, on the value of food stamps. And I was sitting at a table with my future mother-in-law. And so that's how I met her. It was through volunteering on that project, and then she and actually a small community actually eventually brought us together and resulted in us getting married and having 2 wonderful children. And so I owe a whole lot to volunteering. So, so thank you. And I think that's also a good segue to talk about 2 things. Number one, our city is going to try and take volunteering to the next level in a very meaningful and tangible way. So one of the primary goals of our Office of Community Engagement, headed by our own Frank Mirabal, who's up here, we are going to try to offer volunteering opportunities for every city department. That is the goal. So depending on your interest, if you love animals, it's animal welfare. If you love paperwork and filing, the city attorney's office needs your help. So we are going to try and map, expertise, interest level, time, commitment, et cetera, to every department in the city, and we're going to try and have an online portal to do that. But when we have opportunities and challenges like we have in Albuquerque and even in our own city hall, we need your help. And everyone in this room is already helping a lot, so thank you. But we're going to provide you with dozens of ways to sort of bring a friend and engage in the community. So look forward to that, and hopefully next year we'll be able to really dive into that. The second thing I want to go over actually has to do with a program that the First Lady is working on that is near and dear to our heart, and I think is a great way to blend some historical, mayoral, and city activities with volunteerism. So with that, I want to introduce Albuquerque's First Lady, Elizabeth Kistin Keller.
Well, thank you all for being here. It is so exciting to look out into this room and think not just about what it means today to be able to celebrate the work of all of you, but to understand what all of you have done for this city over several years. So again, a heartfelt thanks from us for both the work you've done and the inspiration you continue to provide for others who are just getting engaged as a volunteer and in service work for the first time. So before I start, I want to do a quick thank you to Sophia for pulling this day together. As many of you know, Sophia has been leading volunteer efforts for the city for several years now, and I think most people, including myself, think that it's sort of a huge office because she makes herself look big in terms of what she's able to take on. So it's a tremendous effort, and we are so grateful to have her leadership in this, and the support and the work of the ABQ Volunteers Board. So I may ask those of you on the board to just stand up who provide continuous work and guidance for the city on this. Thank you all. So as Tim hinted, we are working to put together a citywide service challenge that will take place in August this year. And we decided we wanted to use today to get advice from the real experts, all of you here in this room. So what I'm going to do is just briefly share a little bit about the why and the what of this activity, and then let you know how you can share your ideas with us. So first, the why. Much like the wonderful event we have here today, we are interested in encouraging and celebrating individuals and organizations that are using their time and their resources to make a meaningful difference on their block, at their school, in their neighborhood, and across the city as a whole. We also want to be able to use what you all have created here to excite and inspire new volunteers in the city and connect them with the amazing organizations doing this work and in need of volunteers and resources year-round. So what will this service challenge look like? It's still under development, but what we do envision is at the beginning of August, Tim and I will formally announce the annual theme for a month-long service challenge. We'll be asking individuals and service organizations from schools, churches, congregations, mosques, companies, neighborhood associations to design and execute a service project that fits within that theme and then challenge others to do the same as well. Our hope is that the nature of these service projects will vary wildly in a way that reflects the creativity, the diversity, and the needs of our community. Say, for example, the theme is honoring our elders. A performance group at a middle school might choose to visit a nearby nursing home for a performance. A neighborhood association might choose to help a specific individual with repairs on their home. A church group might choose to organize a trash pickup or beautification at one of the city's senior centers. A high school group might choose to record oral histories of key community members or organize multi-generational storytelling at their school or a nearby library. And a dad at home with his kids might write letters or draw pictures to honor important elders in their family or in their community. And throughout the month, each of these organizations would share what they're doing. We'd be able to amplify this and communicate it through the city and challenge others to get involved as well. This month-long challenge will also be coupled with a family-friendly celebration of community engagement that allows us to celebrate the challenge projects each of these individuals and organizations have completed, but also to connect some of those new volunteers with the organizations that are doing work in this area with that annual theme year-round. So here's how you can help. And I love this group. I gotta say, walking in here already, there are folks who have already filled out these sheets. But if you haven't seen it on your table already, there is a design input form on your table. The first, and we're asking for sort of 3 things on this input form, if you're interested. The first box asks you for input on themes. What are some of the annual themes we might use over the next 3-4 years that can excite and unite challenge participants across the city? The second box is about the catalysts. Who should we reach out to and talk to? Could be organizations that you're representing today, or if you know of other neighborhood organizations, service organizations in your church or school, as we start to generate some interest in this ahead of August. And the third box asks for what role you might like to play. We're interested in getting folks who may serve as ambassadors for this once we pick a theme for this year and decide how to roll out the challenge, to get your help in sharing that information with your friends, your neighbors, the organizations you're part of. And if you're interested in being a project leader. So the contact information at the bottom, totally optional, but if you're interested in one of these leadership roles, please put down some contact information so we can loop you in as we go forward with that. And again, it is sort of our sign of appreciation and a recognition of the expertise you all bring to understanding the Albuquerque community, to understanding what it takes to really generate excitement around service and to continue to magnify, to grow, and to celebrate the work that all of you are doing in this room. So thank you again, and we look forward to your input.